I'm your host, Arjun Datta. Now, today is a very special episode for all of us over here at IIC. It's because it's Founders Day. That's right. And on this very special occasion, we've decided to dedicate this episode to all of us and our industry partners who've helped make IIC the premier culinary institute that it is. So, folks, gear up. Today is going to be super exciting, super enriching, and extremely engaging for all of us. Because not only are we going to get insightful and incisive about the things that we learned today, but also we're going to get them from the person who started this institute. That's right. So I have the privilege and honor to welcoming my father and the founder and chairman of IIC in New Delhi, Mr. Virender Datta. Sir, thank you so much for being here. How are you?
Jim, good. Thank you very much.
So good to have you.
Well, good evening, friends and viewers. It's nice to be here on the Master Stroke, and I'll share with you some of my journey, how we came all the way here. Thank you very much.
Well,
All yours.
Thank you so much. No, the floor is absolutely yours today. Our viewers are going to be watching you throughout because on this very rare occasion, we're going to be learning from the master himself. All right. So, my first question before we get started, and I see that you have a lot of preparation in front of you, so obviously it is going to be very exciting. Yes. But the first question I think I want to ask on behalf of my viewers is the dish that you've chosen today is Simpliol.
Yes.
That's right. So, can you tell us what is your reason for choosing this dish?
You know, when I worked in France, I was working as a freelancer chef. And I worked in about 30 restaurants. Okay. And one of them was the Maxims of Paris, which was a 3-star Michelin restaurant. And this dish was the most popular dish there. Wow. It was ordered by every second customer. So I thought I'll share the Lyon cuisine with you, Chef Crillon.
Wonderful. So, folks, you heard it. Not only was this dish cooked in a 3 Michelin star restaurant, but it was one of the most ordered dishes. Well, I'm glad that we ordered this today because we are going to be getting a handful of knowledge from it. All right, so the floor is all yours. Why don't you take me through step by step what we're going to be doing today because I have no clue on how to cook this dish.
Okay, friends. Creole cuisine is influenced by the Spanish, French, and the African effects. It is a cuisine from America. But the origins go back to those migrants who brought the cuisine there. So you will find a mixture of a lot of taste in this. It is absolutely palatable for the Indian taste. Like the spicy, tomato and garlic, so Indians love it. So that's why we chose the dish today. So we start with little olive oil. Pomace olive oil is perfect for this kind of cooking. We put the bay leaf.
So how much oil are we looking at?
Just to soak the onions and the garlic.
Just enough.
Not too much. French cuisine doesn't rely too much on the oil. It is more the cooking of the vegetables just to glaze them so much. Once the oil is hot, we add garlic, the onions, in French cooking, we do not use the ladle too much. It's not like the Indian curry. So the shaking of the frying pan is one of the basics. We just deglaze this little bit to get the color off. And now we add the celery into this. This is the flavor item. And we have 2 capsicums, the yellow one and the green one. These are the rich source of vitamin A and D.
Wow, that's really good, folks. So what I've realized is that you don't need a ladle for French cuisine.
No, we don't.
All right, that's interesting.
Well, except when you are just getting it assembled together. But the shaking part is, the chef's job is this only. We cook the vegetable and we get them a little off color. So they're slightly cooked and get the glaze on them. And the oil does the glazing part of it.
All right, so how long before that's ready to, before we do the next step? Because I have a bunch of questions that my audience.
This dish cooks in 20 minutes. It's a very
20
quick cooking
minutes.
process.
I think this dish, folks, is definitely made for people like me who do not like to spend a lot of time frying, cooking, chopping. I mean, 20 minutes is just the right amount of time I want to spend.
We got enough glaze on it now. You can see that here.
Wow.
And now we add fresh tomato puree into concussive form. That means we have removed the peels, we have removed the seeds. And we add this to it. And if you need a little bit more, then add a little bit more. The addition of tomatoes, bringing their real umami taste into this, which all of us love so much.
Can I have a bit of that?
Yes, sir.
While you step aside, because I don't get to do this very often.
Well, it's all.
Wow, folks, you cannot believe this smells so good. And as chef has told us, this is only going to take about 20 minutes. So that's perfect because our questions and your cooking are going to go hand in hand.
Yes, sure.
Lovely. So, great. Wonderful. So can I get ready with my first question?
Yes, please.
All right. So before we start, I want to ask you, how long before the next step in that dish?
Another 3 minutes.
Another 3 minutes. So 3 minutes is what I have, guys. Now, my first question is, 50 years is a considerable amount of time in the industry. Tell us one thing that hasn't changed in the last 50 years. One thing that hasn't and one thing that has.
The love for food hasn't changed. People still come out in hordes to eat food prepared by the chefs. So what has changed is the pace. Way back in 70s, the chefs were never in a great hurry. Every dish was cooked patiently, with time. A lot of time was spent on presenting the dish. Today we put the presentation on the plate, then we put presentation around the plate. And every dish, we made our own mayonnaise, we made our own sauces. There was no question of buying ready-made products. Chefs were very, very proud of their sauces, which they made themselves. I'll just reglaze it a little bit of wine. White wine does the trick.
So for those who are watching at home, notice how wine is being used very differently than otherwise. So tell me something, while we're on the subject, there is obviously a distinct difference between table wine and cooking wine.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So why don't we talk a little bit about that?
You see, table wine is the first press of the grape. That's the finest. As you're getting more and more pressed, the juice gets a little bit more solids into this. At the end, we get the cooking wine, which is much less expensive, but much more aroma.
Okay.
And here, when we cook it, friends, the alcohol will evaporate. So no dish will make you drunk, rest assured. It will only give you the nice aroma to your nose, which you would love.
So,
We add a little bit of stock now.
is that chicken stock?
We have the fish stock for the fish.
Stock.
The stock is added so the vegetables get cooked nicely.
All right. Lovely. So, while I've always been fascinated by French cuisine, I know for a fact it wasn't always French food. It was called continental cuisine.
That's right.
Why don't you share us your little experience or history on that for a second?
See, the French was the most common diplomatic language of the world.
Okay.
So whenever there were any exchange of communication between two countries, French was the baseline. So the French diplomat had to accompany with them French-speaking people and the French-speaking chefs. The cuisine, because the French were so innovative and creative in their art that they picked up the cuisine of all other countries and brought the salient features of those countries into this cuisine. So in 70s, we always called it continental cuisine. Spanish, Italian, French, Russian. Chicken a la kiev is French or Russian. It's a debatable issue, but the French loved it. In Germany, I learned how to make chicken a la kiev. So the origin of the dish was the French developed it and spread all over the world. And later on, garlic flavor, onion, tomatoes made the difference in the cuisines.
Excellent. All right. So when we're talking about you learning from different chefs and, of course, the history of how food has evolved, I think our viewers would love to know who's that one chef who's influenced your cooking the most?
I must admit, I was influenced very early stage of my career. I was joined as a kitchen trainee at the Oberoi, New Delhi, after graduating from the Oberoi School of Management. And I had a 6 feet 3 inches tall chef, Ninos. He was German Austrian origin. I haven't seen perfection more than that ever. Dish was not only cooking, it was a scientific project. Everything was exact. Every slice of the cucumber had to be at a specific thickness. Everything was measured exact quantity. He will give us in writing, and we were to make the dish. So I think I learned the perfection from Chef Ninos, who influenced my thinking. I must admit, when I went to Germany, I was immediately absorbed into the main kitchen without.
Right. Well, I'm going to leave you with your cooking for the next few minutes while I come back, and I'm sure the kitchen's going to be smelling absolutely brilliant.
Yes.
So why don't you take our viewers through the remaining steps, and I'll be right back.
Okay. This is the time to do the seasoning of the dish. Always use a spoon to add the seasoning. Don't do chefs like, you never know when you put too much. And you know that too much salt is bad. You can correct too much salt, but you can't correct too much salt, you can correct too little salt. Then we have cayenne pepper. Now cayenne pepper is again the Spanish influence. Cayenne pepper can be sharp and can give color also. Cayenne pepper is also a variety of capsicum only, but the sharpness varies. And that's what brings the sharpness to the food. Now you can see this is slowly, your sauce Creole is getting ready. This is the best part of the dish is you reduce the stock a little bit more, so you get the consistency you want. Once the sauce Creole is ready, you can use any protein. Creole is the popular dish in France or in Louisiana, where the food comes from. But you can add into this chicken, you can add into this paneer, or cheese, anything you like. So vegetarians can have Creole dish as much as the non-vegetarians. So this is the best part of this food. As it gets a little bit more reduced, I will allow it another few minutes to get reduced before I put the shrimps into this.
Well, my ears just went up. As soon as I heard vegetarians, I was absolutely fascinated. Wonderful. All right, so Mr. Atta, we've been cooking for a little under 10 minutes now. I can smell absolutely brilliant flavors, and I'm sure you all can get a wonderful visual appeal as well. So we've talked about the chef who's influenced your cooking the most. But what I want to talk about is your high point of your career. So as a chef, you were a chef for at least, give or take, 15 years, I'd say, right?
Yeah.
Give or take. Now, in those 15 years, tell us at one point that you would consider the pinnacle or the high point of your career.
First of all, let me correct. 15 years hard cooking, being a chef, but at heart, 50 years of chef. A chef is always a chef. He can get out of the uniform, but he can't get out of the art. So all my 50 years I've been dedicated to the chefs and the kitchens, and it has inspired me to use the knowledge of as a chef to bring in the institute or whatever I work. Now, the high point came to me twice. Once when I was in training, after training in Germany, I went to France to get further training of 1 year. And I was given, my first job was Ivry, 60 miles from Paris. Novotel had just started the chain, and they took me as a cuisinier. Since I was trilingual, German, English, little bit of French, I was quite popular with the staff, and I was given different assignments. One day, my chef, who was French, was making chicken marengo. Now, chicken marengo is a peculiar French dish which has prawn as a garnish. So when chef was explaining the dish, he forgot the prawns. So I took the liberty of correcting him. He got very upset. Though he liked me very much, but he told me, don't teach me French cooking. And friends, this knowledge came to me from nowhere else but from my institute, my college days. So I will again advise all my listeners, your college days are most precious. Pay a lot of attention to what your teachers are saying. You just don't know when you will like to use that knowledge. Chef got so upset, he said, let's get a Escoffier and we'll check it. I said, fine, chef, let's get the Escoffier. But when he was very upset, he says, young man, if you're wrong, I'll fire you. I was so sure. I said, chef, by the way, if I'm right, then what happens? He said, I'll quit. And the matter ended there. Half an hour later, the general manager of the hotel called me. He said, did you have a fight with the chef? I said, no, sir, we had a discussion. And this was the discussion. He smiled. He said, he has resigned. Now I don't have an executive chef. Will you do his job? I didn't hesitate. I said, yes, of course, sir. So at the age of 25, in France, I became executive chef of a 45-room hotel. And that was one of the most challenging experience for me. Though I did not work very long there because I had to move to Paris to work in Paris Intercontinental, another Michelin star hotel and restaurant. But it was a great experience. Second thing came when Arjun, you joined the institute. I'm so glad that whatever I've learned, I can transfer it to my colleagues, to my chefs. Sumit is there, Arjun is there, that this hard work of learning will not go disappear, it will continue. So these are my highlights. I'm very, very happy and proud of them.
Thank you so much. And I think our cooking
It's
is
ready now.
getting there to the end.
This is fresh thyme. Fresh thyme is a mint variety of herb. So if you ever don't find thyme, don't hesitate to use mint. Our local herbs are as good. Fresh herbs are used very often at the almost end of the cuisine. Imported herbs or so-called Western herbs are expensive. So the substituting them, there's no harm. And now is the time to add the shrimps. Right? Shrimps don't take too long to cook. And as I explained you, if you don't like shrimps, add chicken. If you're a vegetarian, add cheese, tofu, whatever you like. And you have a vegetarian dish of your choice. So we let it simmer now. As I told you, the shrimps must be deveined. The black waste at the back must be removed, otherwise you will spoil the dish. There is no other precaution to be taken.
All right, so while we're waiting for that, folks, absolutely, you must get a view of this, by the way. This view is absolutely brilliant. Look at that. That's fantastic. And I cannot wait to taste that. All right, so while we're waiting for that, and you mentioned your high points and you talked about your influence and you talked about where you work, we obviously can't nowhere near come to an end to this conversation without asking the golden question. Why is it that you started this institute? I mean, at the age of whatever age you were at, when you completed one milestone, you decided to start another. So tell our viewers.
Arjun, when I joined the kitchen, there were no culinary institutes. The hotel management graduates, after 3 years of studies, had to choose to become chefs, go for another 2 years of training. So you never knew you're going to be a chef or a waiter till the call comes. Throughout my career of 45 years, I realized that there was absence of culinary institutes which does not train the chefs from the beginning. Those who want to be chefs, why use their time for any other dish, any learning? And that's why the moment I retired, and I still have plenty of energy in me, I thought that's the only way to pay back to the industry that I start a culinary institute. Arjun, this is my payback to the industry which has given me most generously. And I hope and I believe that we are serving the industry by giving them future chefs with an attitude of learning, of never say no, and no job is too difficult.
Interesting. All right. So how many minutes before we've got
Another 5 minutes also.
another 5
The
minutes?
soup is already changing color. That's the sign that it is ready.
Excellent. Excellent. Wonderful. All right. So while we discuss why we started the institute, I only have two more questions before we end this. Before I hopefully get to taste some of that also. Now, we've all talked throughout our time at the institute. When we talk to our students, we talk about what they learn the most. Now, why don't we hear from you? What has been the most experiential or the most memorable learning that you ever had in your career?
What I learned over the years, develop attitude is the more important thing than anything else. Cookery you will learn all your life, and there will be still more to learn. But attitude gets founded and stays with you. And I personally believe attitude of saying yes to the most difficult job will get you to the top. Trust me, there's extreme shortage of people who are daring. Very few. You always look for the safe route. So those of you who are daring will say yes to the difficult job, will succeed. I can assure you that.
Wonderful. So I'm going to leave you with that cooking for another couple of seconds while I just step out, and I'm going to be back right here.
Okay.
Folks, keep an eye on this. This is worth checking out.
Okay, this is the time now to taste the sauce a little bit. It smells very good. Perfect. No need to add anything else. Now this is the time. Tomato concasse. Tomato concasse, I explained you. You blanch the tomatoes, remove the peels and the seeds, and cut them into quarters. When you add tomato concasse, you don't have to cook the dish further. It must stand as it is. It should not get cooked. This is the celery. Sorry, the green onions. Green onions, again, typical Indian taste also. This adds a lot of flavor to the food. And that's what I said, it's very palliative to Indian taste. We leave this dish for a few minutes as tomatoes and the onion shoots get assembled. And that's the now time to get ready for the dishing of the food. We have already pre-boiled the rice. You can boil the rice or steam the rice. And we put them in a platter, which there are various ways of dishing the fish creole. What we have done is, we have put the rice in a bowl, deboiled. You can grease the sides of the bowl with butter so that it slips out easily. And we gently lift it. And here we have the bowl of rice ready with you. And your shrimp creole is ready to be served. When the serving time comes, pick it up and gently arrange the food and the sauce. The portion size in a traditional sense is about 6 shrimps, depending on the weight of the shrimp per portion. You can add more or less depending on who is going to eat it. So we have cooked today 2 portions of shrimp creole You can, there are various options of decorating your plate. You can put a twig of the herb and give it a final touch. You can do whatever you like. So that's your shrimp creole ready in 20 minutes. And believe me, it will appeal to any Indian palate because of tomatoes, garlic, onion, and the spice in it. Enjoy it. Thank you very much.
You know, they say that timing is everything. I've chosen the time to come back right when the dish is ready because that's the time that's most crucial. So, with your permission, sir, may I?
Yes, sure, Arjun.
That's what I was hoping for. We're going to get a nice clean spoon and we're going to taste this dish. Wow. So, cooked in France, how many years ago?
Oh, 50, 45 years ago.
45 years ago. The taste, I'm sure, hasn't changed it a bit. It is perfect. All right.
Thank you, Arjun.
Thank you so much for sharing that with us. It has been absolutely brilliant. I do have one last question. We're going to leave our viewers up with a nice, light note. So I want you to share with us one anecdote from your experience while you were cooking, when you were managing hotels, or even at the institute.
There will be so many of these situations, but I think the challenge of organizing the wedding of Mother of India's daughter, where about 100 kings were coming, and we were under Guest Control Act. Under that act, you could only use, or rather, you could not use any flour, sugar, and milk products. And I was to make a menu befitting the kings without breaking the law. And I can tell you, all my years of chef experience, all my travel, and the support of my team, we created biryani without rice. We created naan without flours. And trust me, the press was saying, you have broken the law. And I was saying, I didn't. They wanted the recipe, which I didn't want to give. Ultimately, you have to give it. So things like this do come in our lives. When you are challenged and you produce the best using all possible skills you can have.
Wonderful. Well, folks, there you have it. The secrets are out in the open. There are no secrets at the Institute. The only thing that we have to take care of is making sure that we have the right attitude. So, Mr. Datta, thank you so much for being with us here today on Master Strokes. It has been an honor and a privilege to host you on Founders Day. Good to have you with us. And for all of you, those at home, now that you've got the recipe, now that you've got the right attitude, make sure to put it to test every single day. And you have to be learning all the time. Cooking is not just from the heart, it's also from the mind, and it is your passion. So, on this Founders Day, I'd like to thank all of the people that have been with us through thick and thin, through every milestone to make this place the place to be for food. Thank you and namaste. Stay home, stay safe.
Thank you.